Don't know?
Go ahead, I'll turn.
It's not working. Okay. I have Emily Mortland with us today. She is the owner of Edible Arrangements in Collinsville and Edwardsville. She and her husband own Exclusive Designs and PBK 360 Marketing. Emily is originally from Central Pennsylvania. She attended Penn State University for undergrad and graduate school. Her previous work includes lobbying for smoke-free laws in Missouri and Pennsylvania, access to nutritional foods in desolate areas of St. Louis, and working with St. Louis youth to become healthy, successful adults. She currently resides in Glen Carbon with her husband and 3 young children. She coaches competitive volleyball for her daughter and coaches her son's soccer and basketball teams. She's also an active member of the Junior Service Club, and she wholeheartedly believes in the power of community and working together for the good of all. Today, she's going to talk about a new group called the D7 Appreciation, which was founded last year by Emily and her founder, Laura. Hi, thank you, Rachel, and thank you all for having me. This was, for the record, very last minute, so I would like it to be known that I was given some time. I will say I was given some time. So, thank you for having me. So, as Laura said, last year I had the opportunity with a friend to start a group called D7 Appreciation, and I'm sure some of you have heard of it, but if you haven't. Between COVID and lots of transitions, I see some of you that are in the education field. So I know that you've experienced some challenges with parents and community members and a lack of support. And so kind of at an all-time low last year, there was some issues with mask mandates. And really the people that I personally feel struggled the most with that were our teachers and our staff members who were just kind of following the rules that were given to them. And so dear friend Laura and I had the idea to serve. Our goal was originally to start at Glen Carbon Elementary and serve lunch to all of the staff there. And so I'm from Pennsylvania, and lunch is a very important thing back there. I'm sure it is here too. But we always say that if you can offer someone a meal, it kind of is a great way to offer an olive branch. So we started at Glen Carbon, and it very quickly grew. And a lot of people were interested in donating money for this. So we quickly realized that perhaps we could do the entire district, which is actually quite large. I'm not from this area. And so we quickly realized that was about 1,100 staff members. And so within 24 hours, we had raised about $9,000 to ensure that everyone from bus drivers who aren't even really considered staff members, including our custodial staff and our nighttime staff, would have a meal. And that grew to, I think we ended up raising almost $15,000 by the end of that process. And so we were able to give everyone that meal that we had hoped that we would be able to. And then we also were able to give every school a breakfast. That was awesome. It was great to raise that money. But really what we realized was that there was a whole fleet of people that were invested in our education system that perhaps aren't attending our school board meetings and aren't necessarily involved, but do want to be involved in some capacity. And so we realized that there was a need for more celebrating of our school systems and our administration and our teachers and our staff members, and what would that look like. So over the last couple months, Laura and I have kind of worked on trying to see where that would go and what that would look like. What I have learned is that every school in this community is a little unique. And so some people are shaking their head, yes. Warden is very different than Cassid's, and their needs and their staff are very different. And some people might not actually want your help. And some people want more of your help. And so what we're doing and what we're trying to create is kind of a community-wide effort to show people appreciation. And right now that is with our staff or our district members. But as it continues to evolve, we're looking at different ways to kind of show our gratefulness and our appreciation to people in the community. So we are currently working on trying to build a community for our special needs students that have recently graduated. So in this area, in all areas, there's a very large group of graduates that graduate at the age of 21, and they aren't sure what their possibilities are, right? So when you graduate and you're a functioning adult that has autism or Down syndrome, you might not necessarily have the right route that is a full-time job. So what does that look like? So at Edwardsville High School, there's something called the Tiger Den. And the Tiger Den is a very cool opportunity for students with learning disabilities or developmental delays or special needs to offer coffee and baked goods and breakfast items to students. And you might think, okay, well, that's just at a high school. But actually that high school is really big, and that is fully led by students. And then there's a couple teachers who kind of supervise, but they do a fantastic job with that. So the D7 group is obviously still incredibly grateful to district employees, but we are working with a collaboration with a couple other people in the community to see what it would look like to build something that would be a hybrid model of adults that are perhaps SAUE students who are trying to get a degree in occupational therapy or physical therapy or speech therapy, who are looking to work with people who have disabilities, and then working with our disabled staff and kind of replicating what's happening at the Tiger Den. So why am I telling you guys this? So that's kind of where our phase is that we are trying to get business interest in creating a place where our staff can work together along with a whole host of young adults who are looking for a purpose. And I think almost all of you as working adults can verify that having a job gives you a fair amount of purpose. We are a very giving community. The Edwardsville, Glen Carbon, Madison County is a wonderful community. There's no reason why we can't figure out a space that we can all support to help people that have different abilities than us kind of function and have meaningful jobs. So I don't know if any of you have any questions, but that's kind of where I'm at. But I'm not like asking for anything at this moment, but I would love to work with any of you if you think that there's an opportunity for you to work with us on it. There is some staff that recently retired from the Edwardsville School District that are very actively trying to get a feel for it in the community, and I am their unofficial and volunteered for spokesperson. So anytime that we talk about D7, it gets everyone so excited and thinking, wow, we did something so quickly, so fast. I just always think there's an opportunity to give more in this community. So that's my very quick, yes, sir.
So are you looking at a food retail like Tiger Den, or just general retail, or what are you thinking of?
So we have looked at a couple models throughout the United States. There's actually a place 2 hours from here that does the exact same model. We have gone back and forth on so many things. First and foremost, as a business owner, I need to be able to make a profit, and everyone needs to be able to make a profit. But there is, to some degree, we want to make sure that the food is not, we are looking at food, but a very kind of select food. We don't want to discourage our staff members who might not be able to do a quick, very fast service. And so we're kind of looking at like kind of that bakery lunch kind of phase of things. But yeah, it would be food kind of thing. Yeah. Yes.
Per se, are you a Eagles fan or a Steelers fan?
I'm a Patriots fan. So, there it goes. I'm originally from California, so I have no dogs in any fights. I just like sports.
To your knowledge, does the school district or university have any programs that are geared towards hiring young adults, especially?
Right. So, and I may be incorrect in saying this, but pre-COVID, there was some thought that there would be a replica of the Tiger Den right across from where I'm actually located, like Market Basket and Edible. There is the Lewis and Clark land. Pre-COVID, there was some thought that, and I might be wrong in saying this, that the high school could put a replica of the Tiger Den there. It is my understanding that during COVID, that kind of bailed out. And so as far as I know, the high school, I think, and maybe I'm misinformed, but is kind of at their limit with the Tiger Den and their current staff. So the previous director of this program at the Tiger Den, I work with very closely, and she would like to replicate it with adults that have now graduated from high school. Yeah. Yes.
So I graduated 2020
Yeah.
on YouTube from PHS,
Yes.
right? And I missed the title.
Yeah.
And so simply cookies are amazing.
Yeah.
I know that UC Bank has moved out of that site to me, where I attend now, and there's like at least 10 different companies competing for that same spot.
Yeah.
What do you think about putting, consider that? You know about it?
I did not know about that, and I wouldn't say that I would necessarily. I think that sounds awesome, but and I think this is part of where that community feel comes in. We need to give a fair amount of grace to the staff members. So having a high cost rent building, I assume, and having a low yield output is kind of a drawback. So, but I do love that idea. I'm just not sure that they would be able to necessarily fill orders quick enough to make sense for like the rent costs at SIUE. But like I said, if SIUE was willing to work with us on it, that would be a whole different ballgame. But right now, we have reached out to a fair amount of Lewis and Clark and SIUE, and there's not quite a need for it right now, but I would love it if there was. And that is kind of why there's such a need for the community to be behind this, because it really has to function on its own 2 feet, but also with an understanding that this is not going to be a drive-through constant process. So, yeah.
How many adults are looking to be able to handle it?
So there are, in the Edwardsville High School graduates alone, there are 175 students, graduates who would like to work. Now that's not a full but with that being said, those are 175 people who have parents that are invested enough, that have reached out with the previous teachers who have said, gosh, I wish there was a place for my kiddo. Now that also says that might mean a 2-hour shift. And so that's not a full 8 hours, and that's also not 40 hours in a work week. We're talking about 10 hours a week at most. and, you know, obviously doctor's appointments. So it is the best part of this is that the previous program director at the Tiger Den she is retired now, but she is fully invested in this and would like to manage this completely. So she is full gung ho and works with the students, or excuse me, the graduates fantastically well. And so she has no, you know, she is fully aware of the challenges and is ready to tackle them. Yes, sir.
What is the Tiger Den?
So the Tiger Den is at Edwardsville High School, and they serve, and I have actually never been there because of COVID, but it is, and I also didn't just graduate from high school. That's the real part is COVID, okay? But it is, they serve coffee, tea, hot drinks, and baked goods to staff and students. But that is, they run through, I think like about 500 to 800 orders a day. So I mean, that is the main snack bar at Edwardsville High School. So it is, I mean, they do really well there. And it is there are 2 teachers there, and then I think a few aides, but it is predominantly run by students with disabilities. Almost about 175 people, almost all of those graduates, 99.9% of them came from the Tiger Den and graduated from it. It was such a fantastic program that parents or some guardian reached out and said, can we have this in the community, and can my kid work there? So, yeah.
Do you have a relationship with the Illinois Center program?
So my contact at the Tiger Den, or now she's retired, but she does work with them a little bit, yes. And we have thought about like trying to get grants and trying to reach out in that capacity, not too successfully. Yeah. So, thank you for your time, and thank you. And I will have my contact information. I know you guys have a meeting to do after this, but it's a really great opportunity. If you can think of someone, or you can think of a spot, we don't need a huge building. I'm happy to pay rent, but everywhere that we have kind of looked just hasn't really worked out for us. Or if you know someone incredibly wealthy that just wants to give me all their money, I accept that. So thank you all so much.